Hey everybody, we are here with another sparring breakdown. Today we have one of the rounds from the tournament that you qualified for Masters Experience. This is the men's division, I believe third degree and above. So we have Mr. Kyner here on the left and Mr. DeBerardinis here on the right. So we'll take a look at this. Okay, so the first thing you notice, most of these, this is the first sparring breakdown we've really done in a tournament setting. Most of these we do as free sparring or testing prep. So the height advantage, right? Mr. Kyner is quite a bit taller than Mr. DeBerardinis. I think he's smiling because he knows it in here. But, immediately what happens is, as we start, he moves forward and he's already on the outside of the ring. Right? Technically, if your base leg's out of the ring, you can't score a point. So he's got to find a way to scramble immediately to get to a position where he can score. So let's kind of see what happens here. So if you notice how he's moving, Mr. DeBerardinis, who's kind of blocked here, but he's moving in a circle around his partner, which is what you want to do. And he's staying as much as he can in the black, which is the area you can score in. And especially with the height disadvantage he's at, that's what you have to do. You got to move your feet a lot more to just avoid getting hit and obviously stay in the legal scoring area, right? So let's watch again. So he kind of blocks a kick, turtles up a little bit, and then moves around, hits him with a little kick there. Keeps moving, keeps moving, keeps moving. So what he's done a little bit is really kind of get Mr. Kyner off balance, right? Like this punch here. He's almost tripping because he's anticipating being able to hit and kind of use Mr. DeBerardinis for balance. And he kind of gets him, almost running past him, tripping a little bit here. So his Mr. DeBerardinis' footwork so far has really worked to his advantage. He might not be ahead in points yet, but I think he's starting to learn, okay, I can really have an advantage with my feet here, so far. We'll scoot back, kind of start it again. These are only 1 minute rounds. They move fast.
Yeah, I find it interesting, his path though, to kind of move around and stay in if he can. I don't know. Work in the ring is tricky. It's been interesting getting back to having a border where people can actually go out of the ring. And I just think people aren't really used to it because, you can be outside and stay safe. You don't necessarily have to stay right on that line. You want to get back in the ring as quick as possible, but I almost feel like he's taking the longest route to get around. And the moments where he turns his back are not smart. I would say you definitely want to keep facing your opponent as you're moving around them.
Right.
So right there, backside's bad.
Yeah, so they break. No warnings, I don't think. And keep it going. So
I also would, it'll be interesting to see if he changes his approach throughout the round, but sometimes the best thing to do is to move in and jam as opposed to backing up.
yeah, you can see again from this break and restart here, the pacing has already shifted dramatically, right? It started with Mr. Kyner being the aggressor, and then he avoided most of it, and then now, okay, it seems like they both are kind of hitting the reset a little bit on how they're going to spar this round.
You rewind that. I think one of the things you have to think about when you're dealing with your partner is what are your options based on how you're standing. And Mr. DeBerardinis is trying to kick Mr. Kyner with his right leg, but he's got to get over that shoulder. He'd be much better off switching sides to go towards Kyner's open side.
Yeah, so if you look at their fighting stance, right foot in front with his left foot being out front, it really kind of limits, if you kick with your left foot, you have all this to kind of work with. This is a hard target to hit with your right foot, hook kicks to the
I would-
body, and that's difficult
Right.
to do.
If I was in Mr. DeBerardinis' position, I would immediately switch feet. I would be moving to the left and try and hit that open side as I'm working in the circle,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to trying to get over that shoulder, because he just doesn't have the reach. And Kyner, for his size, moves very fast.
Yeah. So let's watch here. Mm-hmm. He's try to get something off. Nothing really there. So now he switches feet. So I think that just right there he was a lot more successful because he went to the opening, right? They had a closed stance with each other. He switches feet. So this is a closed stance, right? Right foot's in the front. And then he has blocked the round kick, right? And he slides in, blocks the second. Probably gets a punch off. I'm no judge. Gets a front kick there. So wins that little exchange. Okay, so.
Oh, that kick wasn't bad.
Yeah, that was.
That would have surprised. That was a nice kick.
Yeah, so what's happening is he is moving away from his partner. Mr. Kyner's moving away. And then now, because he's moving away, that gives him a little bit of space. So Kyner kicks, but he doesn't mind because he wants the space. And then that's when he goes into that jump spin. Gets pretty close. Maybe some judges click.
No point. That was respectful with your left leg. That was. And
yes.
Again, hard to get over that shoulder. That was perfectly timed. That was a great attempt right there.
That was. I think maybe pointing his toes, he maybe could have got that. But then, lands off balance a little bit, and then Kyner capitalizes with some punches kind of as he's going out of the ring. Trying to talk to the judges, which is never going to help you. So again, they start from a closed stance. So he's been consistent with his right foot out. Kyner's kind of switched a little bit. So I'm curious if he prefers one way over the other, or he's trying to do something to get an advantage here.
Right.
Because now he's back to left foot forward. Good. Okay. I didn't even see the warning there, but
Again, he's working the wrong side. He's working the wrong side of Kyner.
Sure.
I'm really surprised because, obviously it's different when you're in the ring or in the moment, but Mr. DeBerardinis has amazing defense, and he moves really well. I think the mistake that he's making, other than the side he's attacking, is he's spending a lot of time backing up outside of Kyner's reach, and it's just not where he wants to be. Because he's outside, he does not have the reach to capitalize back, even if he gets a lucky hit in. Kyner's got way more reach, so the further you are away, Kyner's at the advantage. DeBerardinis would be much better off, shooting the gap, beating those legs in, and then using the hands, and he's just not doing that strategy.
There's a couple round kicks here. Okay, kick to the back, I'm sure is what they're calling. But, I take the Kyner approach with this. If someone's round kicking, a lot of times I don't have time for them to retract their whole kick. I just spin off of their round kick. That was pretty close to connecting right there. That's a few points if that connects. So I like that kick from Mr. Kyner. I don't think that's throwing your back or anything like that into it.
Style points for Anderson here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so again, that's a good side kick there. Let's see.
The old days with the flat.
Yeah. Yeah, he was into it most of that tournament. Yeah, real high click. Sky high. So that's a good side kick right there. He definitely connects on that one. But kind of lands a little off balance or doesn't think that Kyner's going to come in. Then he hits him with a few punches, but he gets him with a jump front kick also on the way out. So as Kyner's punching, again, your arm's extended. It's kind of a risk-reward thing. Are you going to hit that punch but get connected with, on that jump front kick? Because that's worth more points. So he gets a punch or two, but then he gives it right back up to the jump front kick there, right? And now he's out of his reach for that punch. And then,
a good kick or retreating, fadeaway side or jump spin side. I mean, it's good stuff, but I think he's missing that opportunity to, throw that side kick. Now plant your feet, engage forward, and throw those punches. Stop Kyner right in his tracks.
Yeah.
Because even that block, if you go back about 3 moves, he had that high block up, but he didn't have anything with his footwork to actually support the high block.
Yeah, that one?
He needs to get that back. It'll be here in a second. After this retreat, when they come back around, right here, boom. So that block, he went up, but he didn't have the footing to actually support the block. I mean, it's good that he's able to move light on his feet, but every once in a while you got to plant, right? Otherwise, you got nothing behind.
Yeah, you can see his feet. This looks like his right foot is almost turned backwards, and then his left foot is kind of rolling onto the outside. He's trying to hold his ground, and the weight of Kyner's body is kind of twisting him weird because he's trying to stay in the ring, I'm sure is what it is. So, yeah, he's just spending a lot of the time trying to stay in.
Well, and if I was to comment, so based on how DeBerardinis is moving, if I was Kyner, I'd be using side kicks to keep him away, because at this point, I think Kyner's got a decent lead. To stay in a position where DeBerardinis has the opportunity to answer back, I think is a mistake. Especially the way that he's so light on his feet, I'd be trying to move DeBerardinis as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And even if I'm not scoring with that side kick, I'm keeping him away, and there's no way DeBerardinis is getting any points back, right?
I see what you're saying. I do think he's sneaking in some sneaky 1 and 2 point exchanges here. DeBerardinis is like right here. So there's kind of a leg clash and then a punch to the head. Maybe or maybe doesn't connect, but then jump front kick right to the body. There's 2 points, click, click, because he connected there.
Several moments in this round, trading
2 more punches right there. Yeah. And then
the mistake, Kyner allowing DeBerardinis to be in a position to have that exchange in the first place.
I agree.
I would.
Yeah, that should be a side kick right there. That needs to be a side kick. It was a round kick, and he moves. He's didn't really even have to move. He just blocked it.
Yeah, you throw a round kick, you're inviting an exchange. You're not maintaining that distance. I'd be curious what the actual score was for this match, because there's a lot of trading.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good exchange right there.
Yeah.
Again, I think this jump front kick happens. Kyner gets 1 or 2, but then DeBerardinis punch, kick to the head. I think on the far side there, it looked like. Another punch. Again, he's just kind of sneaking in these hits when there's a lot of chaos going on. He's just getting 1 or 2 more. I can't remember who wins this, to be honest, but we'll see here in a second. Yeah. So I think he just, again, snuck in 1 or 2 more here and there than Kyner did. I think if he would have won the sidekick battle, it would have been a totally different round. Because all the exchanges as he was going back is when he connected more. But I think Kyner don't let him in the first place, and it's a totally different round.
It's so interesting with continuous sparring, because it allows us to spar like we normally do, but your strategy and mindset still has to change when you're doing, competition versus a normal sparring round, because, if I'm doing a normal sparring round, I want a little bit of exchange. I don't want to be chasing you across the room. I want you to come in and give me something to feed off of. But in a competition round, I want to lead. I want to make sure I've got the points and you don't. And sometimes that leads to a very boring sparring round, but I'm not trying to let you get an opportunity to trade points with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, going back to this.
Getting two, you know.
Yeah, I think this last little exchange where he gets hit with that kick, I would immediately back off. Anytime I get hit with anything, I generally back up to regroup myself. Okay, what just worked for him? I need to figure out how to not let that happen again. You know, he just kind of pushes through. And again, it's point sparring. It's tough if you know you're down or you know there's not much time left. You just got to go sometimes. But, you know, he gets a couple shots, but he doesn't really move out. He's still in position to potentially get hit more. He gets hit probably another punch there. You know, back up so nobody can hit each other. So it's sort of a mental reset based on your distance, right? And then, okay, let me figure out a different approach, you know, so I don't get hit.
Well, I think you also have to keep in mind too that you know, we're dealing with the judge's point of view, and depending on where you're at when you throw a certain combo, you know, the judges have to call what they see, not what they think is a point. You know, so you have to allow for a little bit of error where not every hit's going to be caught. You know, so on either end of the equation, so you don't want it to be close. You don't want, you know, a 5-3 score. You want, you know, 20-5. So there's no question that you won, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's interesting watching these two spar just because, like, Josh is not a small person. Kyner is very tall. So immediately when they start, the ring is already just too small, right? And I know both of these two, the way they free spar is very different. Josh, this majority of this round was backing up. He normally is very forward dominant, you know, the way he spars. So it's just interesting kind of what tournament sparring, point sparring kind of makes you do. Because immediately he knows I got to back up because he's tall, but I got to stay in this black square. So he immediately becomes a completely different person, you know, how he spars.
I would also love to point out, just for comedic benefit, a few seconds ago was the perfect example of making sure that your judges are all ready to call their score before you say judge's score. Poor Mr. Bird was not ready to throw his score.
Oh, at the end?
Yeah, it's so great. Yep, score, and oh, Mr. Bird's not ready.
Good round. Good sportsmanship there. Well, that's a sparring breakdown. We'll see you guys next time.